Hello everybody, and welcome to the first time we've streamed this series where we watch the best players in the world at certain heroes in a player perspective version, and we analyze what they do and we learn from what they do. We've already done Abaddon and Alchemist on our YouTube channel, so we're just jumping right ahead and we're onto Ancient Apparition in this one. And we're going to be seeing what this guy does. This guy is technically ranked 4th on the player rankings currently, but I've chosen this guy over the other ones because this guy's had 166 games played as the hero, while the rest all had like 30. There was a guy in about 6th or 7th that had 600 games played, but significantly lower win rate. So I figured this guy's a good compromise. We're going to do that quite a lot because often, you know, the ranking isn't perfect. And if a guy's only got 30 games played as a hero, I don't consider them the best in the world by no means. And I don't consider this guy the best in the world either. So we want to turn off the fog for the other team. The fog system is really poor, but we want to get as close as possible to being, you know, a good player perspective cast. We want to see what this guy can see in the actual game. Again, it's not perfect. We can see the enemies right now, which is really lame. But we're seeing this guy using his mouse, we're seeing what he's looking at, and I think that's really useful, and you can learn a lot from the game just by looking at player perspectives of the good players. Even the minor details like how they move their mouse and how they use the camera can really give you some insight on how you can play the game better, and you know, it might be more comfortable to try different things. One thing I've noticed, every single time I watch a really good player, they always spam click the fuck out of their mouse. They never just click one place and just go there. They're always spam clicking, and I think this is like a condition that they all get into. It probably helps them get like higher actions per minute if they're constantly thinking to spam click. Or maybe it just allows them to get more precision in where they want to move. But it's very common to see. Part of the series is I pick a random game from one of the best players in the world, and I pretty much, it's very unprofessional, but I squint my eyes and I don't look at the outcome of the battle. So I don't know if he's going to win this game or he's going to lose this game. I don't know if he's going to play really poorly this game. It's all possible. If he does play poorly or the game's like really boring, like everyone abandons, I will do another game, and I'm pretty much just making myself go through maybe multiple games if they're not great, for the benefit of having like a suspenseful game. Because I think that's worth it. I think the one good game we get where we don't know the outcome and it's all a surprise is going to be worth maybe trudging through a few games where people just abandon early. Because I think a good player is going to play good even if they do end up losing the game. You're going to see them playing pretty hard, and perhaps even harder in a game that they're losing. So here you can see he sacked the camp and his buddy pulled the creep wave into the camp, and now they're just generally being a nuisance to the enemy and getting some a little bit golden experience from the jungle. Not a lot though. In fact, he's got 0 experience from this, but this clockwork is pretty out of position, and be interesting if they can get a first blood out of this. Because he's really dug deep to, you know, stop this harassment. Stop this creep pulling, and it looks like he's going to escape safely down the river, but some heavy harassment coming out from our team. They got him low. Unfortunately he did get a regeneration rune, so he doesn't give a shit, and they're committing a lot of time to this and they're not getting anything out of it. And it's going to be entirely from player perspective. I don't want to go around looking at other players and look for the action, because this is mostly supposed to be educational and informative for ourselves as well as the viewers. And we're really trying to learn how this guy plays this hero. I think it's especially relevant on a hero like Ancient Apparition also because his ultimate is, you know, he's going to be casting that all over the place, and it's really nice to have player perspective to see exactly what he's doing. And his map awareness, he should be a really map aware hero. Once he hits level 6, he should be looking all over the place. Like, is there an opportunity to use my ultimate here? Will this get a kill? Will this secure a kill? So that's gonna be fascinating to see. I guess we'll talk a little bit about his skills early in the game. We can see that he's just upgrading a courier here. Fairly typical of a support. So Cold Feet is an interesting one. All it does is a little bit of damage over time, but unless they stay within the range of it for 4 full seconds, and then it's going to do a very, very lengthy stun. At level 4 it does a 3.5 second stun, which is really insanely good. So this scales really well. Yeah, it does scale really well with levels, and it's also a really powerful skill if you've got buddies with you, buddies that've got massive slowdowns or massive stuns themselves, because you can transition like a 2-second stun into this, so they'll be in the AOE for 4 seconds fully. 2 of that they couldn't escape possibly. In the remaining 2 seconds they can't possibly run out of it. So then they'll get stunned again for 4 seconds. So effectively they've been in that one area for like 8 seconds. And you know, it's just extremely powerful if you can combine it with another stun or another thing like Axe's culling blade thing, or I don't think that's what it's called. You can't check him unfortunately. His Berserker's Call, I think is actually what it's called, where the enemies are attacking him constantly. That's somewhat of a stun. They can't leave the area, so it controls them. And if you get the cold feet just before doing that, once they're out of his Berserker's Rage thing, they are no longer able to get out of the range. So it's very easy to combo with any kind of skill that slows movement or stops movement, which a lot of heroes have one at least. So yep, it's an extremely powerful skill. Ice Vortex itself increases magic damage. Very nice to have on a team with someone like Lion. And the slow is really nice, and it combos with Cold Feet. It makes it harder for them to escape from the range, so they eat a really powerful stun. Chilling Touch is it's kind of an odd one. It's really good early. If you can get it really early, like it's a flat damage increase by a significant margin. So you can really do a lot of damage with it. But the other skills are so good, you don't often see them get it early. But it's still good in the late game. But it's like it's much more significant if you can get it early. But you know, you very rarely do, just because it's not, like, let's call it a B tier skill. The other ones are A tier skills. So unfortunately, it's just not good enough to get before those ones typically. It does depend on the game though. And finally, we have the ultimate, which is it looks a lot more complicated than it is. Basically, you just throw a big AoE, and the longer it travels, the bigger that AoE is, and any enemy caught inside it is gonna suffer from some AoE damage. I mean, some damage over time, and some magic damage. Just a big burst damage from that. And also, if they ever drop below a certain health threshold by any attacks during the damage over time thing, they will just instantly die. And if that does happen, Ancient Apparition does not get the kill. The kill goes to whatever sets it below 12% health. So like if Axe got them down low, it would count as Axe's kill rather than Ancient Apparition's, although it's technically his skill that finishes them off. It also stops most healing, nearly all healing. So not only are they taking damage over time, they can't heal. So it's very, very powerful, and it's a very low cooldown as well. So it's just a nice skill to spam out. A global, huge damage AoE attack. It's just really beautiful if you can land it. It's really unfortunate that we can see wards and stuff from the enemy team that our buddies can't see in this game. It's not true to actually seeing it from a player perspective, but we're just going to have to try and ignore that kind of thing. Hopefully it's not going to be too frustrating for you guys if you're just seeing it and thinking, oh god damn it, we can see it, why aren't they buying a sentry or something? We know that he can't see it personally, his team can't see that. So his team seems to be doing pretty good thus far. They've got, it's 5-1 on the kill score so far. Our buddy hasn't been harassed at all. He's been having a pretty good time over here. And his lane seems to be going pretty well as well. He is a support, so he's not going to get any real farm. Nothing significant, but he is just going to keep his buddy safe, maybe get some kills. Oh yes, and it is actually quite a nice combo. The Cold Feet with the Axe, and the one thing that puts me off a bit about the combo is the ultimate and Axe's thing kind of do the same thing. Because like if you want to get them like low on health, the Shatter would activate. But you want to get them low on health, so Axe can use his ultimate. So there's a bit of a, it feels like a redundancy in having them together. but my guess is the laning phase won't last forever, and they're not going to be you know, right next to each other the entire game, so that combo isn't going to be coming off too frequently, pretty much. And it is a very minor thing. It's not like you're going to get the shatter kill every time, or the culling blade thing every time. I don't even know what it's called. Let's call it dunk. Axe's dunk. And unfortunately, he just doesn't have the damage to kill this dude. I didn't quite catch if he activated his E skill or not, Chilling Touch, because the damage early on is actually not super great. It's 50 damage for 3 attacks, and it's magic damage as well. So what is that after a reduction? Like something like 37.5, I think. So it's not bad by any means. That's like, you know, 100 damage for 100 and something mana. Well, if you put it that way, it is bad, but it's not terrible. And the thing with this skill is you use it on allies, and you always get it. So basically, you can double it, because like if you use it on Axe, he's going to get 3 attacks for 50 damage, and you're also going to get 3 attacks for 50 damage. So you know, that's 300 magic damage, which is still pretty crap, especially the way it's transitioned. But it scales pretty good, because you get more damage as well as more attacks where it applies for. And if you want to be like purely counting the amount of damage you get from the skill, it's actually huge, because if it's like 6 times 80 times 2, because you can apply it to another hero as well, it's huge. But of course it's very difficult to effectively, you know, do it all on the enemy. So our buddy's been pretty static, just staying in his lane for this part of the game. We're seeing him TP back to base, and we're going to see what he's going to be using on his gold for at this point. Looks like he's considering an Aghanim's Rush based on his quick buy. He does have level 6 now, so we might be seeing his ultimate. Yeah, he already cast it. Didn't quite connect though, unfortunately. And again, it's got such a low cooldown, you can really just like throw it out all the time. The mana cost isn't actually very high either. So it's just like it's a spammable ability, and it does so much for it just does so much work. I guess it's definitely worth throwing out all the time. It genuinely, like on paper, it seems like overpowered. I'm not sure what makes it not overpowered in actual games. I think it's just, it is difficult to land. It moves fairly fast, but it doesn't move super fast. And you're doing it from a global range, so the closer you are to the target, the smaller the AoE is. So it's not necessarily easy to land all the time. And unfortunately, we're seeing him place a ward right on top of a sentry ward. So they're going to be, if they walk past that, they're going to see it. But that's just what happens in these games. And here we see another ultimate miss. You can trigger the ultimate early. You can send it down a path, and if it happens to go over an enemy, you can activate it like at any point in its flight. So that's really nice, and that's a very high level kind of skill thing, because if you want to be casting your ultimate and then immediately doing other stuff. You don't want to just be sitting waiting for your ultimate to land. I think that's a common trap players fall into. You want to be using the time where it's flying to do your own stuff as well, but also you do want to be hyper aware of what it's going over and like what you're going to be doing with the ultimate. So if you can trigger it at the perfect time, you can get another hero, or you can get a hero where the original cast probably won't get anyone. So you've always got to be aware of it. You can see he's flicking his camera over it. I think he's always got one eye on the minimap, and so should we while watching this cast. And yeah, very nice. You can cast it without looking at the actual screen. You can just cast it from the minimap. So that makes it fairly easy to do without too much concentration. If you're just gonna, you see an X on the minimap and you send the ultimate over there. Because it's such a small cooldown, you can actually do that without too much commitment to it. It's not like a 180-second cooldown ultimate like a lot of them are. It's just 40 seconds. You can just throw it out every now and then. There's no reason to be overly careful with it. And of course you want to catch enemies with it, of course. But missing isn't necessarily the end of the world with it. and we're seeing him build an Aghanim, so he must really value the ultimate, and being a very skilled player at this hero, I imagine we're going to see some very nice ultimates getting caught. It's just unfortunate we haven't seen, I don't think we've seen a single one land yet, but it's not, as I was saying, it isn't an easy thing to land. And given the state of the game, the enemies are all pretty much isolated. They're not grouped up, they're not focused on pushing towers or focused in team fights, so there aren't as many opportunities to catch people in them, because they're all, you know, they see it coming and then they run away. They're not busy, they're not otherwise engaged. And again, with the small cooldown and the relatively small mana cost, you can't even use it for spacing. You can throw it out and expect it not to hit the enemy, but it might scare them off. It might push them into an unfortunate position to be in, and that could result in a kill, or, you know, save a tower or anything like that. And you can't fuck up an Ursa. Ursa's just way too powerful there. He got his cold foot off, but he couldn't do much more. And I think because of the Ursa was, you know, trying to chase him down and kill him, he probably was in the cold feet range and took the stun, but it was way too late before the stun was activated, and he did as much as he could do there. I think he threw his ultimate off as well. I'm fairly certain he did. I didn't quite catch that in the game though. I don't know if he threw it at the Ursa or he threw it at a different position on the map just to make use of it. But yeah, it was on cooldown, so he definitely used it. It's my bad for not catching that.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And it's interesting looking at the skill build. He's built Ice Vortex first, because I think it's like a very useful skill, and it's never going to be a bad thing. Like, you can throw this at any time, while things like Cold Feet are only really good if you can reliably actually get it to activate. And the Chilling Touch just doesn't do as much work, really. It's not really worth the skill points when you've got an Ice Vortex that just gets much better and, you know, much more versatile. You can use it at any point. It's a slow and it's a magic, increased magic damage. Like, that's good on any hero. To put it on any hero. It's got a 4-second cooldown as well, which is, you know, means you really can't spam it out when you need it. And it can help in team fights and all sorts of good stuff. You notice he's always throwing it out. Yeah, we saw a point blank ultimate right there. It's not bad at all, because it gives it's a nice bit of burst damage. It's 250 magic damage, which has been increased by his what's it called again? Ice Vortex. And it's also meaning they can't heal. It's doing damage over time, and if they fall below 10% health, which they're going to do if they're getting like right clicked by a bunch of allies, then they're gonna, you know, they're gonna die. So it's just a really nice skill to just throw out point blank in the face of one enemy, as well as, you know, get 5 enemies in it. That would also be nice from a global range.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
So we can see the enemy heroes, but we can also see the effect of fog. So, you know, if we can see the fog, we know that that Ursa wasn't in vision, but now he is. So he actually, I think he threw out his Ice Vortex without seeing the Ursa. And I think he gave the vision to see the Ursa, although another allied hero went walking past him like pretty much just as easy. We got a two-man ultimate there. What's this ultimate called? Ice Blast. I'm sorry for my unfamiliarity with the heroes, by the way. I didn't really explain in this video. This is my first stream of the series, so I should explain a little bit more. We personally are not experienced with many heroes. We're actually a very low MMR player, and the main reason we're doing this is to learn more about every hero and Dota in general. So the commentary isn't going to be as insightful as, you know, a really good player. Someone like, I don't want to call anyone a really good player because people have their opinions, but we're going to say Purge. I know he's not high MMR, like super high, but I'd consider him a good player. Relative to me, he's a good player. The commentary isn't going to be as insightful as someone like him, but we're hoping that we are going to pick up some stuff, and you guys, the viewers, you may pick up stuff that I don't notice, and I think everyone can learn from watching the best player of a certain hero. It doesn't matter if you are Purge, if you're Dendi, if you're anyone. You can learn something from watching this Ancient Apparition, because he's a really good Ancient Apparition player, and, you know, nobody's experienced with every single hero. So I think it's a useful endeavour to go through these player perspective things, And you know, apologies if my commentary isn't all you're hoping for from something like this. I guess even if you muted it and you only watched the player perspective gameplay, you'd pick up a lot of knowledge because, you know, he's a good player. I actually did an Ancient Apparition video before this. I recorded it, before I started streaming, and it was a good game, but I knew so little about the hero, and I made a few like huge misconceptions, and I thought too embarrassed to put it out there, and I thought it was like, you know, it was negative, it wasn't educational, because people would listen to it and think, oh, it does that, and then later on in the video I'm like, oh god, it doesn't do that, it does this instead. And it taught me a lesson. It made me actually read up on the abilities a bit, because I'll tell you what I thought Cold Feet did a 4-second stun plus the stun duration, which, you know, makes no sense at all. That's just completely idiotic. But I didn't read it. I went into the game not knowing anything about the hero, and then I just like, I read it in the game. I was like, wait, what does this do? It does that. Oh my god, that's overpowered. Valve, please nerf. But we know it. The 4-second duration is the time they've got to be in the range before anything at all happens, apart from the damage over time. So yeah, that's enough of that tangent. We're a little bit more aware of the hero now. So I think he's just finished off his Aghanims, and it's on the courier, because it's no longer on the quick buy thing. So I might be wrong there. He might have just cancelled the quick buy thing for now. I apologise. I've been too busy in this tangent to actually pay attention to the game, but I guess we'll see with time. It's feasible he's got that amount of gold on his part in the game. It's also feasible that he doesn't. I'm fairly certain he bought at least the Ogre's Club. I'm pretty certain I actually saw him buy that, so I think he's got some stuff on the courier. And unfortunately, he's pretty much screwed here. And he couldn't do a lot. His ultimate was just off cooldown. He could have, if he had it off the cooldown, maybe he could have thrown it down just to get a little bit of damage and maybe set them up for a kill by his allies. But it was on cooldown, so he could not accomplish that. And it was a very nice blade by the axe to finish off that kill just before he teleported. We're talking like microseconds there before he got out of there. And it's looking like a pretty hectic game. There's a lot of fighting going on, a lot of killing in all the lanes. We can't check stats. We've been pretty much just allowing our buddy to do all this stuff, but we can see there Shadow Fiend's doing absolutely fantastic job. 11, 2, and 3, and that's exactly what you want from a mid, a carry mid. That's brilliant for them in this game. But you know, the enemy aren't doing poorly either. It's very difficult to call this game this early on. Like, it's literally like 50-50, I'd say, or maybe, you know, like 55-45 or something. But our team do seem to be at the advantage, I'd say. If there's anyone at an advantage, I'd give it to our team right now. Although it could go either way.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So Roshan has respawned. Of course, Ursa got it much earlier in the game, as Ursa's like to do. Now our team are doing an excellent job in taking the towers. And there we go. Roshan just respawned and Ursa was there immediately. And a nice use of Ancient Apparitions Global is to check the Roshan pit and, you know, punish anyone that is in the Roshan pit, just throwing it out. If you throw it from a far enough distance, it can cover the entire Roshan pit, and, you know, the big AoE is quite nice. It can lead to some amusing kills if, you know, people are tanking Roshan fairly early on. It's not so much useful when you're against an Ursa, because, you know, Ursa just solos Roshan, doesn't fall below, let's say, 80% HP after the first one. So yeah, you can detect him, but you can't really stop him, because even if you do notice him, he's got to kill Roshan so quickly after the first one. He's got you know, he's got so much burst damage against Roshan. You'll kill it and then he'll just walk away, unless you're already close. It will at least scare him, and maybe if he's early in the kill, you will stop him. You'll stop him from trying to kill, or you'll even get in there and kill him, punish him for trying to kill Roshan. So, you know, it's just nice. It's similar to Clockwork's what do you call it, rocket thing, in the same sense, although, you know, it does more damage. It's basically the same thing, longer cooldown, and a lot more versatility with, you know, damage and damage over time, lack of healing. It does so many cool things. But of course, it is an ultimate. So you see, he's getting involved in these team fights, and he's very rarely looking at himself. He's got his camera like all over the place, looking at the enemies rather than himself and his buddies. And this is mostly because he's playing this hero, and even when he doesn't have his ultimate available, he's having this kind of map awareness, because it's necessary to play a hero like this. And he needs to be aware of the enemies, and so he can throw in his ultimate. And it looks like he's in trouble. Yeah, we just saw the Ursa running behind him, and there we go. And you really can't do anything against that unless he gets like something like a Ghost Scepter, which I wouldn't be surprised to see. Because I love Ursa. Ursa is actually he's technically my second most played hero, and he's probably my favorite hero to play. He's really good for running in and picking off a support like Ancient Apparition and then getting out of there, but he doesn't always succeed in getting out of there, and that was one of the cases where he did not succeed. And you know, getting an Ancient Apparition for an Ursa is a good trade for the Ancient Apparition, because you know it's worth it to die if you're going to get down an Ursa who's going to be significantly more farmed, and you know he's going to give a bigger bounty, and maybe he's more crucial to actually, you know, winning in team fights. I don't know if that's necessarily true actually. But here we saw our buddy didn't elect to use his ultimate here. My guess is he thought they would be out of position before he could get it off. He did end up using it later though, so I don't know. Kind of an odd decision that he didn't use it early, but then he chose to use it later and it didn't hit. I don't know, I think he was just setting himself up for a better opportunity to use it, and then ultimately didn't actually get a good use of it, but he did try, and I think it is nearly always worth just trying, because the cooldown is so low. I mean, he's already got it back right now.
Cuts two ways.
And it is interesting that we see him throw out these vortexes for vision more than anything else. It's vision, and it's also really nice if you catch someone, especially out of vision. If you catch them with it, they're just gonna, you know, they're gonna get caught by it, and it's gonna slow them down. It's gonna make them weak to magic damage, and it's gonna screw them over. So just taking a quick look at our buddy's team. They have quite a good chunk of magic damage, but they don't have particularly amazing magic damage. There's like, you know, I'd consider Shadow Fiend mostly a right clicker. Axe is I don't know. We're gonna go off player perspective very temporarily, because I want to check out Axe. I don't know enough about Axe, unfortunately. Is this pure damage? Okay, it's magic damage, but I'm pretty certain the kill threshold is pure. Like, if they're above that amount of health, it will just, you know, it will kill them. It doesn't look at magic resistance or anything like that. So just throwing it off as like a general huge amount of damage nuke, which you do see from axes quite regularly. The magic damage increase will make it, you know, it's not a bad skill to just throw off. It's a big nuke of damage, even if it doesn't get the kill. Especially if you can combine it with an ice blast, so they fall below the kill threshold like after that. It's kind of an interesting combo, but it does work. And you know, plus 30% magic damage is just huge. It's such a huge deal. I'm genuinely curious how much it aligns Aghanim's ultimate does with plus 30% magic damage. I'm gonna guess a lot. And he might also have something like, you know, a vial, maybe even a, what do you call it? An ephemeral blade? Ephemeral blade or something? The thing that you build from a Ghost Scepter. That gives plus 40 agility. I apologise that I'm so bad at game knowledge. Well, I think I know what all the items do, but I don't necessarily know their names. And I guess I know the name of this item, I just don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know, I'm making excuses for myself. I shouldn't go on these tangents if I know I can't complete them. And they're really committing to kill that illusion. They can't tell that it's an illusion, I think. and that axe is probably going to feel a bit silly now. Maybe they genuinely wanted to kill an illusion, but it did seem like they were committing a bit too hard, and they probably just didn't know it was an illusion, which is kind of humorous to see. I don't know the MMR of these players, but they're in the very high skill bracket, and this guy's got like over 2,000 games played, and you know, I'm going to assume they're pretty high MMR. Very high skill, I think that means they're at least like 4k. I don't know, I don't want to say anything like that. I think it's actually lower. I think it means they're at least like 3.5k, and probably higher. Like all these games are very high skill, so I'm going to assume it's on that. It's at least on the high end of the max threshold before you get very high skill ranked games. But yeah, I think it's fair to say that they're high MMR, and you have to be really to be like the best ranked player, unless you've got one of those 30 games played heroes, which is why we're ignoring those. So he's finally finished off his Aghanims. It took a long time. He hasn't actually been able to participate and get many kills or assists at all, really. He's been trying his little socks off, but he hasn't been able to accomplish a lot. The enemy team have been pretty good at not grouping up very regularly, and you know, not getting caught by his Ice Blast. But now he has Aghanims as well as level 11, which is level 2 Ice Blast, so let's just have a quick peek of what we can accomplish with this now. Oops, he's already sent it off, and he's sending it off to the big pile of bodies over there. You can see on the minimap, it's getting close, keep an eye on it. And he's caught one, he's caught at least one there. I think he may have caught two, but he saw that it caught at least one, and then he went off. It did catch two though. We can see the effect of it now. And these guys can't heal, they're taking damage over time, and it's just very, very annoying for them. If they get below a certain amount of health, they will just insta-die. And what the Aghanims does is it increases the duration. And is that it? Is that all it does? Yep, all it does is increase the duration by a large chunk. It increases it from 8, 9 and 10 to a flat 17. Which means more damage over time, more time where they can be shattered if they get below a certain health, and more time where they can't heal. And it can make a huge difference. It can turn, you know, harmless Ice Blasts that are just going to heal up into lethal ones that they can't possibly survive. Because you've got to remember, that damage over time is ticking down. They can't heal. Not even the fountain heals them. And if they fall below like 12% health, they're just going to die. So they're basically, it's like Doom. They can't do anything against it. I don't know if you can deny your allies if they've been Ice Blasted. I'm genuinely curious about that. I suppose you should be able to. He caught two here, and that Ursa was just dead. I think Lion fingered him when he shouldn't. It didn't seem necessary. Because he was taking the damage over time, and he was going to tick below the 11% threshold for the insta-kill. And is this guy going to tick down? It's going to be close on this one. Gonna guess no. I don't know if he actually caught him with the Ice Blast. Actually, I don't think he did catch that guy. I think he caught him with the Ice Vortex, and I'm mixing up the effects of it a little bit because again, we're not very familiar with this hero ourselves. I am genuinely curious. How much damage over time does this do now then? So at level 11, it only does 20 damage per second. So 20 times 17, that's 340. That's right. Plus 350, so that's 680. So am I doing this correctly? That is just like 690 damage, right? That can't be changed. I wonder if the damage over time is magic. We're going to assume it is. Yeah, I think that's fair to say. So after 25% reduction, that's something like 690, about 500, I think. It's a rough guesstimate, but I think about 500 damage after reduction. And you can't heal, and if you drop below 11% health, you're dead. So another way to look at that is if a hero had about 650 health, and you hit them with a level with Ice Blast right now, they would be condemned to die. Pretty much, they couldn't escape it. I think there are some healing methods. I don't know what they are though, because I know it's like most healing methods. But I don't know what actually does heal through it, so I am curious about that. maybe things like Ugna's healing thing. That seems fair and interesting. So we noticed he used his Ghost Scepter to try and survive here, and it didn't quite work out because you know, the enemy were too dominant in that very area. He decided to turn around and fight rather than run, because I'm pretty sure he was going to die if he tried to try and run. So he got a little bit of damage off instead of, you know, dying. Ultimately, it didn't do a lot, but I think that's something you've really got to get used to as a player in Dota. You've got to know when you're dead and when you can survive. And if you are dead, you've got to turn around and get some damage on them. You probably won't kill them. Well, almost certainly. If you can kill them, of course, that's like normally the wise choice. But even if you don't kill them, if you're going to die when running, it might just be better to just turn around and get a little bit of damage on them, chip them down a little bit. It might result in the teammate killing them. It might result in them needing to leave the lane to go heal. And you know, you're basically making the best of a bad situation in cases like that. So we're seeing 2 unprotected barracks on the dire side now, so our team, with a good push, could really turn this game over and, you know, put themselves in a really advantageous position. And I'm sure that's what they're hoping to do. But at the same time, they've got to be careful. They're getting murdered by the enemy team, and, you know, one team wipe can change a game. So they are being careful. They're all coming mid now. They're making a dedicated push, and they don't want to be caught out alone. Is the thing that's been happening a lot. And all we're going to see on Ultimate, it's on cooldown. He's going to be, it's probably going to be too late before he can get it off. He's going to be perfectly fine, but is he going to try it? He has tried it, and it's coming. He's healing. I'm pretty sure he's going to live. Although it is going to put him out of commission, basically, because he's not going to be able to heal, and he's going to be on low life. And, you know, now they're pushing, and this guy can't come out and try and do anything. He's not going to die to the damage over time. It's not even going to be very close. But, you know, he can't come out, otherwise he would die to the enemies. So, this looks like it could even be GG. 3 have just died, and Ursa's out of the game for another, let's say, 5 seconds. He's pretty much healing up about now, I'd say. But, you know, that ultimate, actually, it seemed like, you know, at first glance you say, oh, it's not going to get the kill, you shouldn't waste it. But what it did is it handicapped the bear. It made sure that he couldn't come out, so it was actually really intelligent if you take the time to look at it. And that's what I really love about these casts, because if we were watching this live, and, you know, if we were looking at everything and just seeing all the heroes do all their shit, we'd look at that at first glance and we'd say, okay, he's just throwing his ultimate out the fountain. I guess that's just, you know, he's throwing it somewhere he knows enemies are. Kind of a misuse of the ultimate. He should have saved it, blah 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 blah. It didn't get a kill. But what we've done from watching it on player perspective, we understood the motive behind throwing it, and we saw the effect of it. What he did is he shut down their Ursa, who is a big fighter, who could have, you know, maybe turned around that push and stopped them from getting barracks, maybe even killed them all. So yeah, I've got a lot of respect for that play. At first we didn't understand it, but now we do, and I'm really happy about that. This is turning out to be educational for myself, which is the main goal of this. I'm sure a lot of you guys instantly knew what was going on, by the way. When I'm basically, what I'm doing is I'm learning stuff myself, and I'm commentating on things I notice. Obviously, I can't commentate on things I don't notice. So if any of this feels redundant, or if any of this feels, you know, obvious to you guys, I apologize. Hopefully we're going to point out things that you don't notice. I think that was fairly atypical, though. It's something that you don't really think about unless you're playing the hero yourself and you've got a lot of experience with the hero. You don't think about the effect that it doesn't allow them to fountain heal. And you know, the result of that is he couldn't leave the fountain. So I'm just really glad we spotted that, because I think that would be easy to spot as someone that hasn't played the hero. And I think it's truly intelligent use of the hero. Roshan is up. I don't know if it's the best use of their time, though, to actually engage in getting Roshan. It will be an Aegis and cheese, so it's a really good thing. But I think I personally undervalue Roshan. Like, Roshan's good, Aegis is really good, but like oftentimes I think you can invest the same amount of time and like get a tier 3. It's definitely worth more at this point in the game. Well, that's not necessarily the case, and you know there are huge differences in doing either. Oh, yes, the ultimate port, and I'm actually really surprised on one port, and that was you know, the Ursa was kind of confused. They didn't know which way to go, and ultimately it ended up in actually catching them. So that was brilliant. And wow, that vortex has a very long range, longer than I thought. I'm not going to read it now, I'm looking at the action going on. But yeah, they got cleaned up a bit here, which is unfortunate. But meanwhile, the super creeps are pushing the tier 4s quite handily with Shadow Fiend with them. So space created. That's what that was. That's like, I'm actually being genuine when I say that. Space created, because that push was actually very worthwhile. Okay, does it tell us the range? It does not tell us the range, does it? I hate when skills don't do that. But we've noticed that it is a long range. I want to say like it's 1,000 range. 1,000 seems about right. Plus you have the actual radius of the skill, so you could affect someone like 1,275 away. That's guesstimating it is 1,000 range. That could be, you know, I'm completely pulling that number out of my arse. It just seemed roughly like that, but it is long range, so it's interesting. And it does give vision. I'm fairly certain it gives vision. It seems like it does. So it seems like a skill that you can just throw out and just to get vision, because it's very, very low cooldown. The mana cost is quite high, but you've got a fairly large mana pool. Oh my god, this is Fog. He can't see this Ursa, but he's throwing out the ultimate just to check and just to punish if he is there. And yep, he sees him. Too late to do anything, but Lion jumped in immediately. And to be fair, Lion against an Ursa and a Scarif Mage isn't going to go too well in the Lion's favour. But he got a cheeky stun off. They couldn't really commit too much because they weren't all next to the Roshan pit at the time. But you know, he used his ultimate for what it's expected to be used for. He checked the Roshan pit, and he did happen to catch Ursa. And it's going to be, you know, it's going to be a thorn in his side. It's going to do a little bit of damage. It's going to be a bit of an annoyance. It's not going to lead to a kill or anything, of course. Not with the team not there to help. But it's not a misuse of the skill. He did it from the fountain, I believe. So, you know, he didn't waste any mana, and he's already got it off cooldown because it's such a low cooldown spell. And it's kind of funny. We've got the Clockwork's rockets against the Ancient Apparition's Ice Blast. It's a war of long range. And we didn't quite catch on there. I am curious if it interrupts channeling. I've got no idea if it does. But it would be very, very good if an enemy was low on life and you managed to get them. I guess it doesn't even matter though, because if you get them in it, they're going to be taking the damage. Sure, you didn't cancel the TP and your team can't, you know, go punish and kill them. But if they TP to the fountain and they're already low on life, they're gonna chip down and die. So that's kind of humorous if you saw that happen. I think he'd also be quite a good hero in Nubia games like my own, because a lot of players wouldn't be familiar with his not super obvious skills. Like Cold Feet, players wouldn't know that they're going to take a stun in 4 seconds. They'd just think, oh my god, why am I randomly taking stuns half the time he uses this skill? I don't get it. And they wouldn't, like, why am I not healing? This is bullshit, hack, I can't heal. And there's a lot of things like that. I think, like genuinely, I think complicated heroes have good win rates in noob games if the player's good at the complicated hero. This Shadow Fiend, this is so funny. Let's see if he actually pulls him off. Not quite. I love the old chat though. No, but I do genuinely believe if you get good at a complicated hero, and you don't have to be amazingly good, you just have to be good relative to your current MMR. And if you're on low MMR, let's say below 3k, I think you're going to do good with that hero if it's an unpopular hero with complicated skills. I think Earth Spirit, you can do so well with Earth Spirit because no one knows what the fuck is going on. They're like, oh my god, there's just fucking boulders everywhere, I don't like it, make it stop. And then you go 20-0-10 10 or something and you win the game as Earth Spirit. I've seen it happen countless times, and it's happened to me, to be honest. Earth Spirit's so fucking complicated, and when well played, he's got such high mobility. You just really can't shut him down. He's too fucking good when he's played well. And I'm not looking over the fact that our ancient apparition just got a kill there. By the way, he threw off an ultimate. It got a kill. No big deal. It's part of the course at this point. Although, to be honest, it's like one of his very few kills. I don't think he's got many kills yet. I'm really enjoying this all chat though. Let's have a look at these stats, because I don't think he's accomplished much in kills. No, he's went 7, 9, and 11. He hasn't been a negative influence on the game by any means. He's bought a few sentries. He's bought the courier. You know, he's done a little bit of support work. He hasn't done a lot, to be honest, but most times there's been an engagement. He's been there. He's been putting on the vortex. He's been, you know, spamming out the cold feet, buffing his allies. Yeah, I'd say he hasn't done anything phenomenal in this game. He hasn't done anything that make you say, "Oh my fucking god!" Like GG, Ancient Apparition single-handedly won this game. But he's been a positive factor in the victory, and I think that you're going to see that a lot more in support heroes that don't have like massive nukes. Like, I mean, he does have nukes, but they're not like, you know, Lion. I'd say he's more of a nuker. He's got that finger. He can just, you know, kill enemies. I don't even know if I agree with myself here. Lion's maybe not the best example, but you know, you get like straight up nuker heroes that don't even have any any real shutdown. All they have is nukes, and you know, they're made for killing. I guess Zeus would be the best example. Like if you played as support Zeus, which isn't too common nowadays, he's better as a carry, I think. But if you do play him, you can get a lot of kills as him. You can get a lot of assists with him. I think he's got like the highest KDA of any hero. And you know, even if you do that, you're not necessarily contributing as much as a hero that is throwing out like slows, magic damage, amplifiers, cold feet, just all that kind of stuff out. I kind of forget what I was trying to make with this point, but when he's talking about how heroes have different uses, I guess. Oh guys, I apologize. So this game's looking pretty much like it's going to come to a close pretty soon. They've got mega creeps at this point, and the towers aren't going to stay up. They haven't even lost their tier 2s yet, so it's looking pretty good. They're kind of throwing it in the sense that they're running in and dying, but you know, it's at the point where it's very unlikely they're going to lose. They do have to be a little bit careful, of course, but yeah, it's looking pretty over at this point though. Oh, I was completely wrong. They don't have mega creeps at all. They haven't even taken the tier 3. I don't know why, I just didn't see that on the minimap. They are against super creeps though. They've took 1 tier 4. I guess without mega creeps it's not 1 at all. So that was a huge misread by me. It's definitely in their advantage, but yeah, I misread that whole situation. They're not like about to win it in the next 2 minutes just from the creeps alone or anything ridiculous like that. And they have to play even more carefully because they can't throw this game, certainly at this point. And it's actually kind of exciting because, as I said, we don't know who wins this game. I didn't look at that information, so you know, they could lose it in the next 5 minutes. It's really interesting, and that looked like a really good ice blast. I don't know how many got in that. Maybe only 1 was alive when it actually went off because fucking Shadow Fiend is killing everybody. But Boost to Travel Shadow Fiend, he's going to go in and demolish the base. I think that's his goal here. They've shut down the Ursa, the clock, and the Storm Spirit. I'd say they're some of the key heroes. You know what? They're all key heroes. I can't look at any of those heroes and say they wouldn't do a decent job at defending. Because you know, Scarif Mage and Morphling, assuming Morphling's decently formed, can do a good job defending. And this Ursa is pretty terrifying. But he's not looking at the actual screen. But of course, he's going to have 1 eye on the minimap. But big BKB Ursa, you want to run away from that. Your slows do nothing. Not when he's got his BKB. And the creeps are in the base. What our team has to do now, and I do call it our team, is they have to kill the enemies, and that's so fucking obvious. If they did kill all the enemies though, then they could just, you know, run into the base and finish the game. Because the throne's unprotected. The super creeps might be doing it. We're not actually looking at the throne, but we can see the super creeps surrounding it. It's probably taking damage. And yeah, we can't quite see because someone's paused it. I'm pretty sure this is like a last second troll pause. You see that all the time nowadays. But our buddies isn't currently alive to, you know, relish the victory that they're about to enjoy. But we're going to see some fountain diving. Sorry about this cough. I think Ancient Apparition would actually be really fantastic in fountain diving, because you could throw out his ultimate to make sure they're not healing, and then you could go in and, you know, murder them with the rest of the team. Kind of funny, but pretty enjoyable game to watch. Our buddy didn't do much all chat flaming. He's like probably the only guy that didn't. Everyone was participating in this all chat. And let's have a look at his final score. He went 7, 11, 14. Pretty mediocre, I'd say. It's interesting he got like barely no experience, so I guess it's typical of a support. So you know, it was an enjoyable game. I'm sorry about this cough. We will be going back to these heroes, but I'm not entirely sure. I think what we want to do with this series is we want to look at heroes that have multiple ways to play the game. There we go. Bit dyslexic with my words there. And you know, if a hero can be played as a hard carry, or they can be played as a support, they can be played mid, they can be played off lane. We'll probably watch like at least 2 games to see 2 different perspectives. I'm so sorry about this cough. It's so bad. And we'll see, you know, different ways that that hero is played. But Ancient Apparition is over, and I'm honestly not too sure who is next based on nothing. Let's just go. Ugh. Can we sort it by name? No, I don't like this. What the fuck? Dota's just closed. Dota just committed suicide when I chose that setting. That's very disconcerting. We're going to reopen Dota, and we're going to find the next hero we're going to watch. And I'm going to go AFK for 2 minutes. I'm going to find the game. I'm going to make a cup of coffee. I should say 5 minutes probably. I needed coffee for my throat. And we'll be back in 5 minutes, and we'll watch the next hero, which I'm not sure who it is. Let's actually find this thing. Dota's been really funny with me for the past few days. No, you know what? We need to go in the store and then the armory. Okay. No, hang on. Loadout? Yeah, there we go, loadout. I need a reliable way to find the heroes. So the next guy's anti-mage. Okay, that's exciting. We're gonna get to watch a hard carry for the first time in our A to Z series. And you know what, thinking about it, I'm gonna stop this stream for like literally 2 minutes, and then I'm gonna start it again. That's because I want to have these VODs for, you know, I want to have these VODs on YouTube, 1 per hero, because no one's gonna watch, you know, specifically for Ancient Apparition and then Anti-Mage also. I'd rather have them set up so you can just tune in, watch the hero you're interested in, and get out of there. So way too much explanation. The end of this video is going to be very long and very boring for you guys. But I'm really ending the stream now, and I'll be back in about 2 minutes for the next video. So thank you so much for watching, and see you very soon. Bye.